Hey, what's up? It's Rashad. Antonio, you know what this is. This is the MCU Collective, and we are back to talk about the year of MCU 2023. And man, we had like, I don't know, two series and three movies. It feels like, and oh man, and the probably the most
and a bombshell.
precipitous fall from grace that we've seen since Lucifer himself.
I ain't seen a fall like this
I'm just
since
saying.
I ain't seen a fall like this since Melkor from Lord of the Rings. Good
You see the
God.
fall, like this is the fall of man. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
right. God. I,
this woman you made me, Lord. You know what I'm saying?
this this Coretta Scott King. Let me
Oh
stop.
my
Let me
God.
stop.
I'm trying to be Obama in here. What are you doing? I'm a great man. Anyway, all right.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to that last because we gotta talk about next year too. Anyway, so let's just go in chronological order. All right.
Okay.
So first thing that came out this year, which is arguably the best thing, and now I'm sorry, I'm lying. I didn't mean to say that. Which
I
is
was about to be like,
probably for some reason my mind saw Guardians, but it really is Antman and the Wasp Quantumania. I apologize.
yeah.
And I just want to say when we saw this movie back in February, it was I was just was very underwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much they could have did with this movie to really solidify one at the time
At the time, yeah.
solidify Kang as a real threat. And I even heard somebody saying like later on that the way they wrote the ending wasn't like the original ending. And if you look back and if you go back and look at it, they went through some reshoots, and
Mm-hmm.
the way the movie ends, there was supposedly
Okay.
that that Ant-Man and the Wasp was supposed to be stuck in the quantum realm. Like that's
Okay.
how the movie was supposed to end. And if you look at it, that's kind of how it should have ended. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? But but
Mm-hmm.
but but the way they did it, it was like, they brought everybody back, and it was like, happy ending, and it was so very like Groundhog Day, like the way they had it, but with some sort of ominous tone of,
Mm-hmm.
everything's not,
As it
not how it
seems.
seems. Yeah,
Right.
but yeah. How'd you feel about Ant-Man Loss?
Um, I remember going into this movie with a lot of excitement. I think you and me both were, because
Very.
we both were like, all right, because we was like, we're trying to see where we're going from here. You know what I'm saying? And this, I believe, was the first movie that was going to connect Kang slash He Who Remains into the MCU out of the TV shows.
Yeah.
Out of the TV shows. And we were really excited to see exactly, how it's going to happen. I'm not going to say it fell completely on his face. It had some things that was cool, some things that we were just like, why? And it was, I'm not going to say it was underwhelming, but it was whelm. It was just whelm. It was there.
Nah, man. Like I went back and when it came to Disney Plus, like I watched it a little bit of it again, and I was like, this has very little replayability.
Not
Like
gonna lie, I haven't watched it since it's been on Disney Plus,
and that's what I'm saying.
and
Like
that I guess you can't say yeah,
the
underwhelming.
middle part of that movie, when they get to the quantum realm, and then they find like the different peoples and stuff, like that
Mm-hmm.
part of the movie is like
Yeah, yeah. And I just want to say something. One of my favorite comedic actors of all time is Bill Murray. We really didn't need him. We really,
no,
we really didn't need him.
and especially just how trash we've realized Bill Murray is as of now. Like that man is some trash, yo. Like, especially when it comes to people of color. Like he don't really like he ain't, I ain't can't really be I ain't rocking with Bill Murray no more, yo. Like he don't be He'll be treating us well. Anyway,
Yeah,
that part was stupid. Um, they should have like there's some things that they could have really played up for drama that they really didn't. Like
yeah.
even the fact that oh that's just and this is what pissed me off about the movie so much. The whole trope of I don't want to tell the truth because it's gonna hurt my feelings, even though I'm hurting everybody else.
Yeah,
I hated that because they
yeah.
made Janet Van Dyne, like I said way back in February, they made her the villain of the story for real, for
Yes.
real.
Yeah.
And they tried to like hide it and masquerade it as Kang being the villain.
Yeah. Like baby girl, all you had to do was tell everybody, hey, what was popping off, what was going on down there. You would have never had Cassie trying to communicate with, whoever it was down there, and never would have had all that stuff. When they had a
Uh-huh.
whole bunch of daggone stuff. But because it's kind of like, oh, I want to leave the past in the past. And then of course, they showing little flashback scenes. And me and Rashad, we came up with the theory that Kane smashed them Van Dyne cheeks. them OG Wasp cheeks, how everything was going on. I mean, yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer on coke. She her Scarface cheeks.
Yo, Elvia. so, so yeah, yeah. As Antman the Wasp, it didn't deliver what I think most of us are looking for, and then too, that movie also did something that I started to fear with Marvel movies. Too many like trying to show cameos of like, you see what I'm saying, of like, oh, we got such and such playing a cameo here, playing a cameo. Like Marvel movies didn't used to do that. So you didn't used to do that. And I think they was trying to do a little tad bit too much with that, with not even just people on air, but voice acting. Like you knew who that was and stuff. So yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Mm-mm.
No, man, that joint was very okay.
Mm-hmm.
And following that up with probably was the best product
Period.
that came like besides one of the TV series, this is
It,
definitely
the best movie out the
the
bunch.
best movie out of the bunch.
Yeah.
Right up there with the best movie in phase
Mm-hmm.
four. And that's Guardians Galaxy 3.
Mm-hmm.
And since this was such a isolated story and
Mm-hmm.
it really ended the like James Gunn's era in the MC. It really ended James Gunn's era in the MCU in a way that was impactful.
Mm-hmm.
It still was funny. It
Mm-hmm.
still had a lot of like moments that were like really like pulling at like that were emotional.
Yes.
And he even had enough grace to set up some other stuff in the future if the
Yeah.
Marvel wanted to do.
I was
You
about
know,
to say that.
like
Left the door.
left the
Mm-hmm.
door open. He definitely did, man. Like this was a complete movie, and
Mm-hmm.
like shout out to James Gunn. Like he did a real good job,
Yeah.
and I really hope the DCU with Superman Legacy
Yeah.
is a success because like
Yeah.
James Gunn be killing it all the time.
Yeah. This was a perfect swan song from him transitioning from the MCU over to the to DC or whatever, man. And I mean it, and like I said, like you said, it touched on everything. It gave you comedy, gave you emotions, and what I'm saying, it gave you some of those, God, some of them friendship scenes with young Rocket and his little, ragtag little, you know what I'm saying?
Tough.
Oh my God, just pulled at your heartstrings. But then too, like you said, it left the door open for whoever, if they want to continue the Guardians as a franchise, for whoever to take over to pick it up from that, what I'm saying, to that point forward with a new group of Guardians of the Galaxy, along with some of the old guys still around. If you
Yeah.
need to bring them back for like an emergency situation, like I guess you can say, the Secret Wars or something, or what I'm saying, or the Kang Dynasty, you can do that. Well, we'll talk about that later.
But nah, yo, this was just a good movie that had a very compelling villain.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? And
mm-hmm.
they didn't kill off the villain.
Mm-hmm.
Villain's still alive. High Evolutionary still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what's his name? Chikuri Uiji
Yeah.
is, and he's a really good actor because
Yeah.
like the way he played the High Evolutionary could have been really corny,
Yes.
but he really committed to being
Yeah.
this over the top person who was just trying to perfect, with this,
Yeah.
number three God complex
Yeah.
identity, and he really wanted to improve upon creation in general, and he really made us believe that he was gonna do it.
Remember what he said? He was like, "Yo, I am doing this because there is no God." He said, "I am God because there is no God." And then we find out too that so many different alien races and species
But made because of
were
him.
made because of
Like,
him. Like, yo,
the
like what you
sovereign.
the sovereign, the little animal planet things and stuff. Like
Uh-huh.
you was like, oh snap, like it's because of them. And then too, some of the comedy bits in this was great. Adam Warlock being a complete man child was just hilarious in that aspect. And then of course, you know what? I'm gonna tell you who's the person who has been an MVP of this entire Guardians franchise. I don't know if you agree with me. Shout out to Dave Bautista playing Drax. Dave Bautista playing Drax has given us basically in each movie a different version of Drax. In the first movie, you got angry Drax, angry menacing Drax. His only thing is I want to kill, God,
Ronan the accuser.
Ronan the Accuser. I want to kill him. And then in the second movie, you see him kind of be a little bit more comedic and lighten up, and then also kind of be there for Quill and the ass, saying be there for Quill, and then to kind of befriend Mantis. And then in this third movie, you see him become what he was basically born to be, which is a father figure.
Yeah, and like and that right there was it just it was good, man. Like
Yeah, man.
I was very surprised. Like the Loki MVP for me for the Guardians
Uh-huh.
has been Nebula. The
Yes.
past 2 days we watched Infinity War and Endgame,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
Nebula, like I forgot how big a role Nebula had,
Mm-hmm.
especially in Endgame. It was two Nebulas in that joint. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
So and just the way her character arc
Mm-hmm.
has grown over those three movies plus Infinity War and Endgame. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
man, like she's really did Karen Gillan has really done a really good job of trying to convey more emotion, because before she was like, straight laced, I'm killing y'all,
Mm-hmm.
don't care. And it all came from a place of hurt and also a
Mm-hmm.
place of wanting to have a father's approval.
Yeah.
So
Acknowledgement.
there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
themes like that I think people just kind of don't really recognize and kind of just put to the side because cool fight scene. But
Mm-hmm.
nah, but Nebula, man, was like
Yeah.
really like a low key MVP for me.
Definitely. So yeah, Guardian of Galaxies, as far as the films go, definitely the best thing that came out of Marvel this year out of the three.
Yeah, next up in the timeline, we have something that we were super excited for. I mean, I was ready for a Secret Invasion. And I really wanted Nick Fury to come back on his on his I'm too old for this ish,
Mm-hmm.
but he was just too old for it.
Yeah.
And it's this, man, I never, like, this jump fell so flat. And plus, they had everything there for this to be awesome.
Yes.
Because the moments in this are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The dialogue between Talos and Nick
Mm-hmm.
on the train when he was trying to let them know, like, look, these white folks ain't gonna let y'all live here.
Right.
They won't let us live here. And
They
I'm
won't even let
human,
us live. Yeah.
but I'm
Yeah.
black. Look at
Yeah.
me. Look at me.
Are you out your reptilian ass mind?
Exactly. So that's the stuff that I really feel like somebody was kind of scared to lean into. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because we could have had that basically the entire time. And
Mm-hmm.
even though Talos ends up dying, and he ends up dying in a very
Whack.
unceremonious way, I'm
Whack
like,
way.
he just gets shot in the middle of a firefight. I'm like, come on, dog, they ain't getting a man no respect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, and then even finding out how much Nick Fury just was out here using folks to elevate his own career.
Yeah.
He said, look, man, I'm gonna get y'all a home, but until we find y'all a place, I need y'all going these missions for me.
Yeah.
And that bred and which makes sense to the storyline because it bred so much contempt that
Mm-hmm.
we had the the main villain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he
Gra-
was
Gravik.
Gravik was high, like, and we even had a good villain. Gravik was a good villain up at like
Mm-hmm.
everything was kind of teetering to okay
Mm-hmm.
until the last episode. Like, I go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So you got this. What's the harvest, right? Was what it's called, correct? If I'm not
Yeah.
okay. So you got the harvest, and you create your super scroll, and then you have this basically OP fight between Kaya and Gravy. Kaya wins. Now you have this OP scroll, like Roman, like seriously, she's basically like possibly the most powerful thing on Earth. On Earth,
Possibly.
where are we going with this?
We have a whole ass super scroll
Yeah, who can?
with with maybe like 10 or 12 MCU characters in one.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, what are we doing with this? Like, I I would have been okay if they would have did this, but then the powers are like temporary or something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
you got this person now who's literally possibly the most powerful being on the planet. I'm talking about you have Drax power, you have Hulk's power, you got who else? Who else powers that they were shooting blasts? Who
Was it
was
a
it?
Thor
Thor
powers in
power.
there?
You had what's you had Captain Marvel. You know what I'm saying? Power. Like, what are we doing here, yo? Like I really have no idea what they were doing, what they're doing with this, and and then it ends with, you know, we also realize now that um Nick Fury married out here clapping alien cheeks,
That
scroll
too.
cheeks,
That too. And,
you
and
know,
and not even that, but like he goes back to the space station with her.
with her, right?
And like which is like okay, you
Right.
just abandoning her again.
Right. And then we don't and then this is just gonna lead a little bit. So we don't even see her in the Marvels.
Not one bit.
Not one bit. Not no mention, no nothing. They evacuated everybody on the station.
Cool question. Do you think that the Marvels is before Secret Invasion or after?
That's a good point. That's a real good point. But it never was really.
It doesn't. It never really confirmed. If I'm gonna try to find out while you
It
there,
hasn't been. It never was confirmed. I'm thinking it was. I'm gonna say after, but maybe it's not. I don't. Man, I don't know. I don't know. Like Secret Invasion, I had such high hopes for, but it's just like also one of the other things that kind of annoyed me is this. So of course, in like the last episode, we see that there were so many humans that was in stasis. And who do we see that was in stasis? Oh, Rhodey, because we saw scroll version of Rhodey. And now the question is, well, how long has Rhodey, you know, been in stasis? Does
Again,
Rhodey know what? Does Rhodey know that Tony's dead? Does Rhodey
not explain at
not explain?
all.
Like it would be. I think it would be criminal to have it where Rhodey has been in stasis ever since Civil War. I
Nah,
think that would be criminal if
again,
they did.
going back and watching Endgame and Infinity War, if this man went through all that as a scroll, that is the deepest of Lawrence Fishburne deep cover 187 on the undercover cop I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
like I'm hoping he went in for a checkup sometime after, you know what I'm saying, in game or and stuff like that, and they got him then. I am hoping that's when, you know, it happened, because it would be horrible. And I guess we're gonna find out a whole lot more with maybe Captain America Brave New World, um or else maybe with Iron, you know, Armor Wars. We might find that out, man. But yeah, I I'm gonna tell you what it seemed like with Secret Invasion. It seemed like they had a meeting and it was like, all right, guys, what do y'all think we should do with this? And everybody just started blurting stuff out, and they just put it on the, and they wrote it on the whiteboard. They wrote it on the whiteboard and was like, all right, let's see how we can make this into a movie. You know, so make this into a TV series or whatever, you know. And one thing I do remember is you and me, we kept saying to ourselves, all right, let's see how this is gonna pick up. And it was slow. It was slow going. And then, you know, it didn't pick up. And then when it finally did pick up, it picked up to a point where we was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, and even the fact that the Marvels takes place after Secret Invasion, it just makes
It makes it even
it
it
makes even
makes
less
it makes it even criminal,
sense.
more criminal. Yeah.
Like, guys, like, why was y'all not like y'all supposed to be doing this for real? Like, why y'all not talking to each other?
Yeah.
You know, like because
Yeah.
and on top of that, the two Nicks are so different.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
got grizzled old Nick, and then we got
Yeah.
like we said before, we got Grandpa Nick.
Right.
Like Grandpa Nick is cool, but like that transition from um I got one last rodeo in me, and
Yeah.
I gotta I gotta set something straight to hey man, I'm about to be like the like the patriarch of the families, so to speak. It
Uh-huh.
just was it was just a hard pivot, you
Yeah.
know. But hey
Yeah,
man, you
because I
know,
mean,
I don't know.
he was beat the hell up in civil, in not Civil War, but Secret Invasion. We was like, yo, Nick is beat the hell up. Like he was beat the hell up and everything. And then now, you know, he was back in the mark. You ready? We'll get to that. Go ahead. We'll get to that. I don't want to
All right, yo.
mix shit
So
up.
next up, man, we got arguably between this and Guardians of the Galaxy 3, just Loki season 2. Loki season 2 is the reason why we do this.
Mm-hmm.
It was like for us. I mean, if
Masterful.
it's your first time listening to us, you can go back and watch all of our stuff and listen to it on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube and on Spotify, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Loki season 2,
Masterful.
it did not peak until the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, there was no fall off. People say, "Oh, I don't like episode 2 because it was such a jar." I'm like, "Yo,
Mm-hmm.
what are you talking about? Them setting up Brad on the actual regular time on the sacred timeline, him playing
Mm-hmm.
games and shenanigans sets him up so well for episodes 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
For him basically, he was the turncoat and then him eventually dying like that whole we needed that.
Mm-hmm.
And it made sense with the story
Mm-hmm.
because Loki and freaking Mobius was still in it.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, and I'm gonna speak for you because we did this already.
Mm-hmm.
Loki season 2 was probably the most complete thing that Marvel has done since this shoot probably Loki season 1 to me, because a lot of the movie stuff got messed up because of COVID.
Yeah, yeah,
Also, R.P. Chadwick Boseman.
yeah.
So because like as we already know, the Wakanda Forever was going to be a totally different movie. It was going
Mm-hmm.
to be
It was the
like
script was
this.
already written,
Yeah, it
and they
was.
gave
He
it
had.
and they gave it to him, and he read through it. And what, 2 weeks later, he
Yeah, he
passed
passed
away?
away. Did you know what the script was going to be?
No.
I listened to all the Wakanda Forever podcasts. The
Uh-huh.
script was going to be like a almost like a lone wolf and cub type ritual. It would have been him and his son. His son would actually came to Wakanda, and they would
Uh-huh.
have had this rite of passage where they would have had to be like out in the wilderness
Okay.
and do this whole rite of passage thing. And
Okay.
then Wakanda would have fell um Talokan. And then they would have had to come in and fight and all that good stuff, you know what I'm saying, and then figure out how to, to defeat Namor. Like that's how the movie
Okay.
would have went. So a lot of the
Okay.
elements are still in there, but like that whole part of it, it would have been like,
Okay.
young Toussaint and his dad. But yeah,
Okay.
anyway, but that being said, Loki season 2, most complete thing. Michael
Mm-hmm.
Waldron.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's in like who's on that joint. They did this did a good job, man, of telling a
Mm-hmm.
very complete story. And then even how the way it ends, which we'll get into in a little bit, it was just a great way to end it out. And
Mm-hmm.
if you don't want to use Loki no more, you don't have to. And if
Right.
you want to use him again, there's a way to still get this version of Loki back. Like either
Mm-hmm.
way,
Yeah.
it just works too well.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely was. I mean, there was not really, I can think of, a dull moment in this series. If it was one, it was quick, and I love this series too because it did what it was supposed to do. It basically, tied, like you said, tied up the Loki story, but also left it open. And he did a lot of callbacks to the first season, and everything kind of was shot. So because we kept trying to figure out how is this going to end. How, like, this is a show that even when we even asked, like, how do we think it's going to end, we couldn't even answer. Like, we don't know. We absolutely do not know. And the fact that Loki, finally was able to do what he said his purpose was always for, grand purpose, and he is now the, what I'm saying, the master of stories, and he's sitting on his throne. He has this throne he's sitting on, and he's the master of stories, and he saved the basically the timelines. So yeah, I mean, it was just a well put together story. Yes, there are a few questions that still couldn't be answered, but if they're not answered, I'm perfectly fine with it because MCU has a lot of stuff that has not been answered.
Boy.
Namely, a giant celestial in the middle of the the Indian Ocean that no one has even made mention of. But hey,
Nah,
that's
man. Again, I gotta shout out the head writer, Eric Martin, along with Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead,
mm-hmm.
who did most of the directing that season. And just the way that was shot, the way that they have more or less figured out how to better use the volume
Mm-hmm.
and not have to totally rely on it again, because season 1 it was COVID, so they had no choice.
Mm-hmm.
And just even like I know some people was like they felt like Sylvie was sidelined this season. I really feel like everybody was able to get some shine.
Yeah.
Um, Miss Menace being a horny robot, wanting to really, you know, get them Victor Timely cheeks herself.
Cheeks.
Like it just was it's a lot of great stuff. Kihu Kwan playing Ouroboros, you know, and it just was a really solid series, man. Like it's definitely. Are you okay? Something buzzing in your house? Who are you looking
My
at?
apartment. The
Okay,
people
so
upstairs
all right, just making
acting
sure.
like something on the floor. I was like, that's
All
what
right,
y'all
all
doing.
right, all right, all right. Okay. But nah, yo, it's yeah, man. Like Loki season 2 was great. Tom Hiddleston deserves something for this, man.
Yeah.
Like he was really doing he did a lot of the heavy lifting.
Mm-hmm.
Which but yeah, let's go ahead and quickly talk about this crap that was the Marvels. The Marvels, again, another missed opportunity. Like this could have been so much better. There were some things that I think that we both think we've said in our review
Yeah.
that really could have made it better. And that was one, and that was leaning into the relationship aspects of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Even, and it's another thing too that I don't like, that a lot of another trope I don't like. And that is the I'm going to wait to talk about our issue until the very last moment. Like establishing Monica's beef with with Captain Marvel
Mm-hmm.
could have made that whole back and forth. It could have just been way better. And not even that, we could have actually had a real explanation. You know what I'm saying? She's like, because you wasn't there. She could have said it at the beginning and still could have been pissed, letting the audience know who never seen the other crap really understand, oh, this is why. Because I know everybody did not see WandaVision, which talks about, you know what I'm saying, Monica Rambeau's basically origin. So we could have really got it like a deep, we could have went to a deeper dive and really explored that relationship. And even like you said, I don't mean to take your words, but even having Miss Marvel truly explain why she was geeking out so hard for Captain Marvel. Because we already know Captain Marvel was on Earth for like 20 minutes and then she went back into space. So explaining that, look, yo, I read all the Antman stuff. I know, like, I know what you did. If it wasn't for you, you know what I'm saying, straight up just obliterating ships that that Thanos had, and like, you know, like you was really like you turned the tide. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that, because it was, you know, rain fire.
Rain fire.
But sire, our troops.
Help! Okay. Help me! Help me! This been crazy. Help me! Get this help. Thanos is crying for help.
So like they could have just did a better job. It's just like and this is one of those times where like explaining something really is gonna help to me. It just would have helped, because Monica Rambeau, like they all did their job, like acting. They did the best they did the best they could with what they had. And I'm tired of them having to do that. Let's get this straight off the rip so they can just come in and have a quality product.
All right. So let's talk about it. You sent out like, hey man, how we gonna do this? Boom. And you sent out like a little outline that we was gonna follow. I said, all right, bet, cool. Probably like what, not even 24 hours after you sent that outline out, because one of the questions was, hey, what's gonna happen with Kang and Johnathan Majors? That was one of the questions. And not less than 24 hours, Johnathan Majors is guilty. And 10 minutes later, Marvel and Disney have fired Johnathan Majors. I said, God damn. They had that paperwork already written up.
They knew back when this thing first popped off. It was like, yep, it's time to pivot.
Right.
So it's clear.
And people at my job was talking about this today. They were just like, yo, we saw a video of this man running like for 2 miles away from this shit. I said, hey. So what he got charged with wasn't the serious stuff that she said happened in the car. You know what he got charged with, Rashad? He got charged with the video, the shot you see him when they got the car, and he pushes her down and then when he runs. That's what he got charged with. And he lost all of that.
And harassment.
And harassment, yeah.
Which, to be honest, like even though all stuff that they saw on film was very much in his favor, he really sounds like an abuser. You know what I'm saying? Like, he sounds like he will.
I'm sorry. We all know what the funniest thing is, yo. And I'm saying not funny as in nothing is funny about the music. This man asked his white girlfriend to be more like Coretta Scott King. Are you serious?
And Michelle Obama.
And Michelle Obama. You ask this white woman who you're dating,
who's not even from America.
Who's that? Right, not even from America. Hey, you need to be more like Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama. What in the caucasity is going on here with this or whatever?
She was like, Coretta Scott King. Like, I know she's probably like trying to follow her little, her little African American history lesson in her mind. Like, that name sounds familiar. King.
Right.
Who's that? Yeah, trash.
And it's crazy because all this with Johnathan Majors, because all this stuff happened. And this man was like basically had the rocket on his back and he was going to the moon.
Yeah. I mean,
what you gotta do?
Gotta be careful out here. Mm-hmm. Let's wrap this up for today. Okay. Let's talk about 2025 in a couple of days. We'll be back probably Friday or Saturday to talk about just our regular movies on the regular Upon Further Review. Come back for that.
Yeah.
Rate and review, you know what I'm saying? 5 stars, because we know we're worth 5 stars.
There we go all day.
Until the next time.
Subscribe and like.
Definitely, man.
Peace.